The 007 First Light reviews are in, and they are strong. We're going to be looking at the highest and down. That's what I do when we do a review roundup. And I'm not going to waste your time. If you're watching this later, I'm going to show you just how strong the game is doing. If you've been questioning whether or not you should be getting it, I will be playing early access as well today. So if you're looking for 007 First Light gameplay or a 007 First Light review, you can get both here today. So it's got an 88 on Metacritic. 47 critic reviews have come in. It has an 89 on OpenCritic with 32 reviews. And I am going to be looking at the highest scores, you know, the 100, then like a 90, then an 80, and on down. I'm going to do a refresh as well because 47 critic reviews have come in for the PlayStation 5, with 3 for Xbox and then 24 for PC. So this is a very, very strong year for gaming. It is very, very competitive. It's going to be a tough fight for that Game of the Year slot. A lot of games are now in those high 80s, you know, almost touching 90. It's extremely hard to hold on to a 90 or below, given sort of the nature of, you know, a couple of outfits can give you a low score. One of the scores is actually very interesting. We're going to be reading a review of somebody that gave it a 70, but they say it's like the best James Bond game ever. So I'm not really sure how you land on that kind of a score when that happens. So as you guys are coming in to start the day, do me a quick favor if you're watching this on YouTube and hit that like button. If you're watching this later, you can like and you can hype, and that does help me out. Thank you to everybody who does that. So if we go to, you know, all 47 critic reviews, you will notice here there are 45 positive with 2 mixed. And so I am going to look at all of the reviews with you guys. Well, not all of them, but we're going to give you the gamut. We're going to go to the highest score, and then the middle, and then the lowest. And interestingly enough, one of the ones that is low may end up getting it may get retabulated because I don't understand how it's got a 70 and they think it is 007 First Light is the best James Bond game ever made. So I'm not quite sure how they say that, and then it falls lower than that. So we will be playing the game today, but I like to look at the reviews day one. And Alex says, I expect you to read every one word for word. Yeah, I'll do my best. I will do my best to do that. And so we're going to start with one of the highest scores. And I like the boys over there at VGC, Andy Robinson and the team. They are independent. So make sure and support them. You can follow them and read their articles. You can also do direct support for them. I do this full time through direct support. So, you know, I definitely want to shout out the people that are out there doing the coverage and doing the thing, and relying upon direct support. So they don't have some big conglomerate that owns them. And so they gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And so let's get the member count going. You guys are well above pace, but that's great because I did take a week off. So we are shooting for the moon this week. Instead of 500, we are trying to get to that stretch goal. And then Madam and I will play Destiny 1 together this Saturday instead of her just playing by herself. And I'm sure that'll be a really good time. We like to do the dual perspectives. So make sure and celebrate your renewals. And Han shot first, and so did you. First gifted member of the day. Thank you, Joker Quinn. So VGC here in their 007 First Light review states that it might just be the best James Bond game ever. So we're seeing a trend here. Many people are uttering this phrase. The way IOI has translated the Bond fantasy into a 14-hour globe-trotting epic is masterful. Now, I like reading that as well. The year is just so incredibly full, and I wasn't sure, you know, if I was going to be wanting to play, you know, a 20 to 30-hour James Bond game. So, you know, 14 hours sounds wonderful. I'm sure you could stretch that if you play it in a way that's, you know, more exhaustive or more completionist. So good morning to everybody tuning in, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for saying welcome back. Be sure to use your Primes. As Major Mischief just used their Prime over there on Purple. If you guys are paying for Amazon Prime, you can support me every month with your Prime, and it doesn't cost you anything. You're already getting that included with your Amazon Prime. So make sure and use that every month to support. And if you're watching on YouTube, we only need 20 more likes to get the first 100 likes. We've only been streaming for a couple of minutes, so we're kind of like into the fray here. Not a long show open because we're just reading through the reviews. And VGC is saying that it's masterful and it's about 14 hours. And thank you for the VIP renewal, Jazzster. And VGC continues to say, it's a game full of spectacle, humor, action, and romance. Everything James Bond should be. New Bond owners, Amazon must ensure this franchise continues. So if you guys were, hoping for a game to feel like James Bond, it sounds like they have achieved that. And again, we will be diving in today, early access. One of the cool things they're doing with 007 First Light, and I would actually like to see more companies do this, is that if you pre-order the game, they don't just give you early access. They don't just give you like a day of early access. They give you the digital deluxe upgrade for free. So you pay the normal price. You pay the normal price. You pay the $69.99. And if you pre-order, they don't just give you, early access. They're literally giving you the deluxe edition upgrade for free. So given these reviews, I think that's a great thing to support. Once people are very confident in their purchase of a game, the fact that you can pre-order it and get that, I think is a very, very cool thing that we're seeing. Now, here are their pros and cons, because I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. Patrick Gibson shines as Bond. Varied gameplay that's a joy to control. Now, this was one of my concerns. Like, you're going to be sneaking, you're going to be driving, you're going to be getting in fisticuffs, you're going to be shooting guns. And a hype train has started on Twitch. Another great reason to help us get way ahead of pace this week, guys. Let's try to end today on 400 members. Let's just go bonkers on my return week from being away. And so that was a concern that I had. I was like, well, there's a lot going on. Like, is the gunplay going to feel good? Is the fisticuffs going to feel good? Apparently, one of the leads from Arkham Combat was one of the leads of combat in this game. And people were saying that they were noticing and feeling that and sensing a sense of like, oh, there's a bit of Arkham in this game. And that's actually true. Quirky, thank you so much for 6 months of subs over there on Twitch. We are exactly 20 members away from me owing you guys a member. Currently, I owe YouTube 3. I've been waiting to drop the 5 bombs. So a 20 bomb would secure the next milestone, and whoever hits it gets it. That's who I end up owing the member. So whether Twitch or YouTube hits the milestone. And thank you, Mr. Ginger Prime, using his Prime. It's a Primeception over there on purple. 16 months of support. Thank you, Ginger. Looking at you, Lego Batman. Mab and I played last night the split screen. It's not as bad as everybody made it out to be, but it is very disappointing. I'm hoping they could do a patch. I would love it if they would update it and do online co-op. They probably won't. I don't know if any Lego game has ever done that. Okay, so varied gameplay that's a joy to control. A visual stunner on the PS5 Pro. Now, we saw this before the game came out, that they had done some pretty significant and good updates to the game on the PS5 Pro, so I do think that is exciting to see that mentioned. My man CM Wright, Chris, coming in with a 56-month and a VIP. Thanks so much for renewing, dude, and jumping back in. I appreciate it so much. So, yes, it does look very good on the Pro, which I will be playing 007 First Light gameplay today on the Pro. And Ant Got No Games helped the hype train roll over with a Prime resub. Thank you so much. That's a lot of months, 22 months. And currently, Twitch is in the lead. So, witty, laugh-out-loud one-liners throughout. I actually saw a couple of reviews mention this, that it is a funny game, that the writing is good. And I think you have to nail that if you want it to feel like that sort of... It's not a movie game, but you know what I mean when I say movie game in this regard. Like, it's a game that's got to have that movie quality. You need to have the star quality for Bond. You need to have the good writing and the good cast. And obviously, I think just from the casting that we saw and the various interactions that we saw, it was looking very, very promising. So, thank you. You missed my re-up. Jazzster. No, I shouted it out, didn't I? I swear I shouted it out. That's why there's 3. I got a gifted from Joker, a re-up from Jazzster, and a re-up from Christopher. That's why there's 3 for YouTube. Those are the 3 that I have. and that I'm seeing. So good, like good humor in games. And then they go on here to talk about the level design. They say IOI's level design is virtually unmatched. Now, Cisco comes in with 43 months and a member plus says, doing the thing. Thank you so much. And that gets us to 234 on the week. Appreciate you guys so much. Continuing to support the channel. Your $5 or $6 a month on your membership is just so incredibly important. So thank you guys that continue to do that. And here's another one from Warhawk. 31 months. If you're watching and you're like, man, there's a lot of people re-upping, that is how I'm able to do this full time. So consider jumping in with your own membership. $5 a month goes a long way when lots of people do it. And so we're trying to get to 600 paying members on YouTube. You can help us with that. What's good, Heavy Metal Mama? Good to see you. Now, they do say here, though, that, you know, the varied gameplay was a joy to control. They do say one of the cons is that the few driving sequences aren't great. Now, they may not be talking about controls there. Major Mischief, thank you for your member plus. And Rissick, thank you so much for renewing as well. That's a double. Boom, boom, 237. Thank you for those renewals, boys. Yeah, so they may not be talking about the controls here. So I'm going to scroll up, and because I don't want spoilers when we do this. But let's just see if we can get... okay, the only time this falters is during the driving. So what falters? When the game does take some control away from the player, it's for sequences that call to mind the iconic train sequence from Uncharted 2 or the Jeep chase sequence from Uncharted 4. 007 First Light raises the stakes with the level itself. Then the post-level sequence will be ridiculous. Then the sequence after that will be even more spectacular. There's a level of what are they going to do next amazement while playing that is only achieved by the best in the genre. The only time this falters is during the driving sequences, which aren't great. I concede that flying down the road in a fancy car is a key part of the James Bond fantasy, and something would be missing if they weren't in the game. But the driving itself doesn't feel as good as it could. Okay, so they do talk about how the driving feels. Now, I'm not super concerned about this because I imagine there's like a couple of driving sequences, but that's not going to be the bulk of what you're doing in the game. It seems like the bulk of what you're going to be doing is, you know, sneaking, shooting, fighting, you know, espionage, things like that. If you guys are watching on Purple, if you're watching on Twitch, there's a minute left on the hype train. So thank you everybody who is continuing to help that trundle along there. So they say these sequences are infrequent and you don't get the chance to let it bother you as something else explodes on your back. It's brought to life by strong visuals, music, and a great central cast. The Bond musical library is a cheat code for heightening the stakes or tugging at the heartstrings, but it's used with surgical precision in 007 First Light. The game's theme, First Light, from the American singer Lana Del Rey, would be right at home, blasting out of the cinema speakers. In fact, other than Adele's iconic Skyfall, it's my favorite Bond tune in a long time. I'm not sure if the music is whitelisted, though. I'm not sure if we're going to have to like go into streamer mode or something like that. If anybody knows or can research that for me now, or if you've heard anybody talk about that, that would be helpful. We are going to be streaming 007 First Light gameplay today. We will be doing that with early access, which opens up, you know, in under an hour. So I'm not sure if we're going to have to run some kind of a streamer mode. So VGC here with nothing but high praise. I'm not reading any spoilers or anything like that. 5 out of 5 stars, and seems like their only major issue is that some of the driving sequences aren't fantastic. So that is, again, not a major concern that I have. What's good, Snake Eyes? Good morning. Good to see you. Just the map better than GoldenEye. Oh, I mean, I don't know why you're bringing up Hitman. This was just a fun title that I went with. Like, is this game better than GoldenEye? Like, is it the best Bond since GoldenEye kind of a thing? No streamer mode, unfortunately. Okay, we're probably going to deal with mutes then. I don't know. Cat Uncle with 32 months in Member Plus. Good morning. Looks like we built a good member count on my birthday yesterday. We did. And we're trying to hit 400 today. So everybody chip in and help out by renewing, gifting, paying it forward. That all adds up very quickly. Of course, Limo doesn't care about the driving. I mean, come on, Zubair. I mean, I wear that pretty proudly. I'm not a very good driver in these games, and you know, it's not my forte. We know this. So it's an ongoing gag on the channel. Not really a gag. It's just true. I'm just not good at driving. So if you're just tuning in, we're combing through the 007 First Light reviews. I'll refresh here to see if it's moved. 47 reviews have come in for PlayStation. It's got an 88 and an 87 on PC. Not enough on Xbox to get a total. That's going to be a continued theme going forward. I just think click rate on PlayStation reviews are going to be stronger. Everybody knows that it's the larger platform. You know, it's a bummer for the Xbox guys, but that's just the kind of the nature of where the industry is right now. You were great at driving in Mind's Eye. That's true. I don't get enough credit for how good of a driver I was in Mind's Eye. So what we're doing is we're looking through the reviews, and we can refresh OpenCritic as well and see it's at an 89 on OpenCritic, but only 33 have come in and been tabulated with their aggregate tool here. And we're reading reviews from like the top scores down to the lowest. Okay, so not a single review. No, there's 3 reviews for Xbox, but not enough to give a total. I think there needs to be like 4 or 5 or something like that. Jay, thank you so much for renewing, and that gets us to 239 on the count. Thank you, sir. Don't forget, every 25 I gift one back. What is going on? I think there are advertisements that have been causing issues with my capture card. I'm not quite sure what the issue is. I don't know why that happens. It's very annoying. Make sure you download the patch. It's 25 gig. Okay. The wheels on the car weren't spinning in Mind's Eye, so that doesn't count. Oh, come on. That's a technicality. You're getting me on a technicality there. In any case, so this was VGC doing a 5 out of 5. Now, next highest score, there were a lot of 95s. I just went right to a 90, so this is a 9 from Checkpoint Gaming. They say reactive stealth and combat systems, fantastic dialogue and narrative, condensed but smart level design, stylish presentation, replayable tac sim mode. So the level design getting praise here as it was by VGC. Good to see that's happening. Fantastic dialogue and narrative. There was praise for the humor and the writing in the VGC one. Reactive stealth and combat systems. Something VGC's review focused on was the fact that there's like a variety of things you have to do, and that it feels very good. Hadigan with 12 months over there on Purple. Thank you for using your Prime. Another month, another resub. Welcome back. And we're exactly 10 members away from 250. Who's going to be the first 10 bomb of the day to secure that 250 milestone? And then I'll owe a member to whoever does that. So, yeah, I mean, we're hearing some consistency here between the reviews about the writing, the dialogue, the narrative, how it feels. The negative, flat celebrity performance. This is possibly not about the main character. I'm going to kind of go through and see who exactly they're speaking to. Distracting action game tropes, slowish start to the plot. I'm actually interested in, who are they talking about on the celebrity performance? That would be unfortunate if it's the villain. Style over everything. Gunplay feels solid. That's good. You're doing a lot of different things in the game. You're sneaking, you're driving. It sounds like the driving is not the best. We'll see the stealth systems. We'll see if they talk about the driving or not. No mini-map. Each mission usually starts with Bond arriving in an unbelievably gorgeous location. Living the spy fantasy, okay? I don't want to get any spoilers. Okay, the rest of the supporting cast is excellent. So here he's going to get into it. Bond, portrayed by Patrick Gibson, is only 26 years old, reckless, cocky, and still figuring things out. Sometimes that means making bad calls, okay? All right. They get a little bit bolder in the story. There's a strong anti-AI thread. Bond succeeds. The rest of the supporting cast is also excellent. Bond's mentor, Greenway, spends most of the game being such an unnecessary a-hole to him, it loops around to being charming. Okay. But here we go. My only fault here would be Lenny Kravitz as Balma, who delivers a performance so oddly flat compared to the rest of the cast that it becomes distracting almost immediately. So, I mean, this is not a major concern, but I do think in a Bond game, in a Bond story, having a villain that's not, super compelling is, kind of a bummer, because generally speaking, those are some of the high points of some of the more recent Bond movies, is having like really, really cool villains. So, we'll see if anybody else says this about Lenny Kravitz's performance, if this is like a consistent form of criticism, or maybe if it's just this one review. So we'll see if we don't get some commonality. But they still gave the game a 9 out of 10. So here we have an 80 from Game Rant, and they say, this is one of the more content-rich James Bond games we've ever had, and it should only get better with future updates. What's an offer at launch is a solid, polished James Bond adventure with a memorable story and exciting action that should please most fans of the franchise. So as an 8, they're giving it a good endorsement here, and let's read their pros and cons. Compelling origin story for Bond with a great cast of characters, hard-hitting melee combat and exciting shootouts, fun stealth mechanics that are never overbearing. Tac Sim mode is a nice bonus. So multiple people have mentioned the Tac Sim mode. This is some kind of a replay value thing that is in the game that I'm not seeing much coverage of this. Lenny Kravitz is such a weird choice. I think, he's kind of an eccentric and unique guy, and I think maybe they thought he'd make a great villain. I kind of think he could make a great villain. They're hinting at future DLC, maybe 4v4 multiplayer. I don't know. SkillUp said the villain in the beginning wasn't good either, but villains introduced later were actually good. Okay, that's helpful to know. They also say here, a clever use of Bond's iconic gadgets. All right. Now, they say here, mission structure causes serious pacing issues. I feel like the other ones that we've read haven't really taken issue with pacing. At least I don't remember anybody saying anything about pacing here. Let's scroll down here and see. Are we getting some agreement? No. No, slowest start to the plot. Okay, so we could be getting some agreement there. Maybe that's what they mean with some of the pacing issues. Information gathering segments are boring and hand-holdy. Not a major issue for me. That's not like a deal breaker for a Bond game. If you guys are just tuning in and you're looking for a 007 First Light review, a roundup, that is what we are doing right now. It's definitely in contention for Game of the Year nomination. Now, it's obviously going to need a lot more reviews. That's probably going to be one of the only things working against it. Now, something does need to be said about this. I haven't really spoken to this morning, but I'm going to do this now because there's such a small number of reviews, right? We've seen other games with like high 80s, low 90s, and they have like 80 reviews within like the first hour. We may not see that for this game. It was very strange the way that they distributed the review codes. Review codes went out literally before this previous weekend. So basically, thankfully, the game is only about 14 hours long according to VGC, and VGC gave it 5 out of 5 stars, but they didn't say it was particularly long. That is potentially in the game's favor, given that people basically had to play this thing over the weekend, but that also means that reviews may trickle in at like a strange pace. Instead of like a monsoon of reviews hitting like right at, 9 o'clock, so 38 minutes ago. Instead of all the reviews hitting like right at 9 o'clock, we may potentially see reviews sort of trickling in throughout the day. So that 88 could slip. So there was some strangeness and some oddities with how this thing was distributed with respect to the review access. Now, that was a cause of concern. A lot of us thought, is there something wrong with the game? Why did they do that? My pushback was, well, maybe they didn't want people reviewing the game until it had been like as patched as possible, because we do know some of those early videos that we saw about the game, they looked a little rough around the edges. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here, given that there's already 47 reviews and an 88. And if you view the other platforms, there's 24 PC reviews, 87. We could look at the Xbox reviews. There's only 3. and see where they land. Windows Central 100, Xbox Achievements a 92, and an 80 from the Outer Haven. So some very consistent agreement here with the reviews. So the small window of time could just keep the review count a little low, and this 88 could slip throughout the day. You get more people coming in and giving it, 75s, 80s. Those will pull the score down. Not by a ton, but it certainly could happen. Now, this is one of the interesting things that I've discovered. This one, Gamer.no. Now, this is a German outfit, so there could be something strange with how they scored it. It got a 70. Now, this could obviously be 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. We know that the aggregate doesn't do well on those 5-point scales because it's interpreting everything into a 100-point scale. So they are saying here, the best James Bond game ever made. The Hitman recipe dressed in a James Bond suit. Now, it's weird to say it's the best James Bond game ever made and then to give it a 70. So I want to see if we can get some consensus. No, they give it a 7 out of 10. I'm sorry. It's not 3.5 stars out of 5. So I would like to see why they're saying. Okay. It's also a bit too simple and straightforward. There are far too many clumsy fights, and the Hitman formula is streamlined a bit more than I'd like. Give me even more freedom during missions, and let me play more with all the tools James Bond has at his disposal, even when all the odds are against me. IO Interactive has made an entertaining game, but I wish they took a few more chances. This feels a little too controlled and thus doesn't reach the greatest heights. Entertaining, yes, but I'm left with a feeling of unrealized potential. So they played this on the PlayStation 5. So I think that's fine. I think that's fine, like giving it a more tepid score because they felt like it played it very, very safe. And maybe it just got very, maybe predictable or simple or straightforward, as they say. This, again, is an English translation of a German review, so we could be losing some nuance within the German language. But this is weird to state as the title, the best James Bond game ever made, and then give it a more tepid score. I think it's fine to give the game a tepid score if it didn't land on you in a particularly strong way. I think that's totally fine. It's just weird to start out with such high praise and then for it to fall so much lower than that high praise. Because I do understand why somebody might play this and be like, this is incredible, this is an incredible Bond game, but maybe they fundamentally decide, they just didn't do enough, it's too simple, it's too straightforward, it's too safe. Now, I, for one, welcome more straightforward games right now. I've got a huge backlog. There's so many games coming out. Better than GoldenEye? Yes, I believe it's better than GoldenEye. I think that's what we're landing on here. It would be really, really cool if they added like a classic PvP mode where, you could play with people, like bring back the levels and stuff. Like, I don't know if they have the rights to any of that. Like, a lot of that stuff is probably locked up in like Rare, which is then subsequently Microsoft's property at this point. I don't know. This reviewer thinks the game is Hitman only. It did feel like, reading some of those criticisms, it did feel a little bit like maybe they were expecting it to be more of a Hitman game, and it wasn't, which it's kind of the point, right? If it was mostly Hitman, then I think people would have complained about that. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you're looking for a 007 First Light review roundup, we're kind of combing through them now. Landing at an 88 on Metacritic and an 89 on OpenCritic. We'll continue to refresh those. Dwayne, thank you for 19 months and getting us to 241 on the week. I appreciate you so much. And we have the, let's see here, 47 still at an 88. We'll see if OpenCritic has shifted at all. Still an 89 out of 33. So again, the reviews are going to be coming in throughout the day and maybe even throughout the week because the review codes did go out just before the weekend started, which is, a bit strange. That is a bit odd for it to do that. 809 Lion says, Lono, I hope this game does not play like Hitman and more like Uncharted. The way these reviews read, it reads like it's somewhere in the middle. It's kind of a blend of all of those things. Like, there's a lot of, we can read through these summaries here instead of like going to the reviews. I've never actually done this method, but this method will work just fine. Let's read through the 100s and kind of see, what the consensus is from the highest praise that the game is receiving. So Comic Book is saying it would have been expected for IO to stick with to its silver ballers and immediately pump out another Hitman, yet the team swerved by making a Bond game with its own take on the classic British agent. This willingness to take a different path has led to a fresh 007 experience that beautifully marries the liberating sandbox elements of the Hitman series with explosive set pieces typically found in more linear action games. So there you go. I mean, that I think is really driving home what I was just saying. Snake, thank you so much for using your Prime over there. Guys, if you're paying for Amazon Prime, that is included. You can use your Prime sub on my Twitch channel. Sad about the Destiny 2 news, but excited to play through First Light. Well, thank you so much for being here and for using your Prime sub on me. Is it possible nominee going forward? It doesn't have enough reviews right now for me to say perfect image. About 50 reviews. No, actually, it's 47 plus the 20-something. It's in the 60 to 70 review total. It's going to need a lot more reviews than that if it wants a chance at Game of the Year, because some of the other frontrunners for Game of the Year have tons of reviews. Quantitatively, that's always a bit of a challenge. Like when you go to OpenCritic and you're like, oh, Resident Evil 9, it's done very well this year, and it has over 200 reviews. And then you go to 007 and it has like 30 currently. So that's not the game's fault. The distribution of the review codes is likely why the review count's not quite high yet. It could get there throughout the week. So by the end of the week, if they have like well over 100 reviews and they still have a high 88, 87, they could be in contention for a Game of the Year nomination for sure. Yes. From what I'm reading and the praise that it's getting, from the outfits that I'm accustomed to reading, like whether it's VGC or Comic Book or the like, it's probably going to land very, very strong even once all the other reviews pour in. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, take a quick second and hit that thumbs up button. That does help me out significantly. Thank you for a strong turnout on both channels. You guys, a lot of people watching on Purple, a lot of people watching on YouTube. We will be diving into 007 First Light gameplay today. I usually play like the first hour or two of a game just to let people kind of see it, and I hear that the game looks incredible on the PS5 Pro, which is where I will be playing. Cultura Geek says, with absolute confidence, it is a technical execution and it is portrayal of Bond as reckless, rebellious, and full of potential, combined with open maps packed with possibilities for improvisation. 007 First Light may not be a perfect video game, what game is, but it's the perfect James Bond game and the one that adds the most to the mythos. Well, there you go. They're saying it's one more person saying, like, this is such a good Bond game. And that's the kind of praise that I wanted to see. I was definitely worried that the Hitman DNA would be too much. 75 reviews now on Metacritic. Did it jump that much? Oh, are you adding the two? Are you adding the 24 and the 51? Oh, it jumped to 51. Okay. 51 and 24. Yeah, 75. Thank you. 75 total reviews and still holding strong at the 88. It's just taking a second for the front end there to update. Thank you, Damien, for using your Prime over there on Purple. Very, very kind of you. 7 whole months. Can't wait for this one. Thank you. Higgs renewed their Prime as well. 15 months over there on Purple. 15 months going through some mental health issues right now and in a crisis center for 7 days, and your streams are helping me get through. Much love. Well, listen, man. You got to take care of your brain, dude. It's where the soul lives at some point, you know what I mean? Like, take care of yourself, brother, and more power to you. Getting help is the first step for many people changing their life, so good for you. Why only 3 reviews on Xbox? So there's going to be a continued trend of not a lot of reviews landing for Xbox, and that's just because of market saturation. If you're going to take the time to review a game and you're an outlet like Cultura Geek or whoever, and you want people to click on your review, you're going to review it where most of the people are. And way more people are playing on PlayStation, and way more people are playing on PC. It's just they're larger audiences at this point. Sadly, Xbox just did a very poor job saturating the market this generation, and that means if you're going to review a game on their platform, you're reviewing a game for a significantly smaller audience. The PlayStation is currently at 3-1. distribution this gen. So they're just, listen, these organizations are businesses at the end of the day. Who's your definitive reviewer most trusted? I trust VGC. I trust Game Informer. In the realm of YouTube, I generally think me and SkillUp line up almost every time he reviews something. I know people call him Shillup and give him grief. I think he's an exceptional reviewer. I think he does a very good job. I never feel like I'm getting a bill of goods. Who else? I feel like Matty Plays does a very good job reviewing games. Jake Baldino. These are guys that I trust. Like when they review a game, I feel like I can trust them in what they're saying. And within outlets, again, I like VGC. I like Game Informer. I like Insider Gaming. They don't have like a super long history of doing game reviews, but I feel like lately, when I have read their reviews, right? I like SkillUp apart from his Yote review. Yeah, and listen, Ralph admitted that his Yote review might not have been the best. Like he kind of admitted that maybe there were some, things in that review that weren't the best. And I was critical of his Yote review. I didn't think it was necessarily a great representation of Yote. I thought Yote did a lot of things really, really well to advance the formula from Tsushima, and he acted like it was the exact same game, and I was like, this is a very strange way to view it. So yeah, ACG, he buys everything, even if he gives a code. That's right. Yeah, Jor Raptor. Yeah, I think these are all guys that I trust. So we're going to continue to read through the summaries here. If you guys haven't hit the like button on YouTube, quickly do that. MEU PlayStation says 007 First Light is all about aura. It honors James Bond's legacy by bringing everything we love about him since the 1960s movies and the ultimate 007 video game experience: chases, shootings, explosions, plot twists, politics, charm, Bond girls, guns, cars, boats, cute technologies, Moneypenny, iconic characters, beautiful locations, all of that with great level design, combat, and exploration. The name is Bond, James Bond. Now, we only saw one review that took issue with level design. We've read now multiple reviews today that have said that the level design is quite good. So I take that to be an encouraging thing that it's shown up that much. We already read through VGC's review. Again, I like Andy Robinson and the boys over there. I think they do good work. Gfinity says, 007 First Light is, for me, an absolute masterpiece that shattered all pre-release anxieties and is, in fact, the greatest Bond video game of all time. XCal, thank you for renewing your membership. We are exactly a 5 bomb away from 250, where I will owe you guys a member. So thank you so much for doing that and for renewing. That's a long time to be with me. XCal, 48 months is a long time. XCal's double dipping as well. He used his Prime for 45 months over there on Purple. Thank you guys for the double dip, especially if you're already paying for Amazon Prime. You can use that Prime every month, and it does support me as if it was a sub. Are these always written in such awkward ways? I did not notice before. Some of what we're dealing with, Zubair, is that you are likely reading an English translation. I'm just going to guess that this is not an English review. I'm just going to guess. And I was correct. So this is Portuguese. So that's what's going on. And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master. Thank you so much. And he secures the 250. And QBZ renews at 45 months on a Member Plus. And Zubair says, count D's nuts. And he hits 63 months. Thank you guys so much. I now owe YouTube 4 members. I've been waiting until I owe the 5 bomb. And we are now 50 away from the next milestone. We're going to try to end today at 400 members. So make sure and get your renewals and your gifteds in as fast as you can. The way some of these are talking, I was expecting 7s. I don't know. I mean, it's saying it was the greatest Bond game of all time. Excuse me. IO Interactive masterfully balances explosive action with Hitman-inspired stealth, all brought to life by Patrick Gibson's breathtaking definitive performance as a young James Bond. Equal parts thrilling and cinematic, this incredible experience is a gorgeous love letter to the franchise and a surefire Game of the Year contender. Well, there you go. And Kaiser Sose says, does this thing work? Thanks for using your Prime over there on Purple. And Brett hits 14 months and says, add another one. We are 20 members away from the next milestone. Who's going to be the first 20 bomb of the 26th of May? The 26th of May. Thank you guys so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it. They definitely turned out. And a 5 bomb comes in from Charles Freeman, and he rounds us out to 260. He says, boys, let's band together and have a bounce back week. If we hit stretch goal this week, we're going to do dual perspective Destiny 1 on Saturday with Madam. She's going to continue playing through Destiny 1, and I will join her. I've got characters, and I am still allowed to play Destiny 1. Ravenous Gojira with 43 months says, too many games. What are we going to do with all these games? Where are we going to put them, and where are we going to play them? I don't know. The backlog is starting to burst. It is really, really starting to burst. So we appreciate you guys so much. Continue to support what we do here. I'm only able to do this because of direct support from guys and gals hitting that join button. Just bought Lego Batman. Now I'm eyeing 007. Yeah, the Lego Batman is so stinking good. I'm very disappointed in the co-op. I'm hoping they can either boost it to 60 FPS. It'd be amazing if they just added online co-op. I don't know if they've ever done that before. I don't know. It's probably not in the cards to add that level of netcode and support if it wasn't planned from the beginning. But it's not the best experience co-op, unfortunately. Which there's always somebody with you. Like, it's like they built it for co-op. It just doesn't run all that well. Madam and I played last night, and I'm like, I can suffer through this just because I want to play the game with her, but very disappointed. The game looks and runs incredibly well when you're by yourself. Too Thirsty with 2 months. It's only been 2 on here, but I've been with Lono since he carried us in raids. Well, thank you so much, Too Thirsty, and that bumps the line to 262. We're going to continue to read through the reviews here. If you're looking for a 007 First Light review roundup, you've made it. Get in here, hit like, and say good morning. And this next review summary we're going to read comes from Vice. And they say 007 First Light is easily the best James Bond game since GoldenEye, and is also one of the better Bond stories told in the last decade. IO Interactive has created a game that is a culmination of all of their best mechanics over the years. 007 First Light has the addicting sandbox gameplay of the Hitman franchise, while also having an incredible narrative that matches the quality of Naughty Dog and Rockstar games. Now that is high praise. That is high praise to say that this review from Vice thinks the narrative matches the quality of Naughty Dog and Rockstar. They go on to say James Bond is finally back and is better than he's been in years. Let's look at the totals and see if they've shifted at all. It's sitting at an 88, very comfortable 88 on Metacritic, and 87 on PC. And if we go over here to OpenCritic, the 33 review count has only jumped to 34. OpenCritic's a little bit slower with their aggregate tool. They're not quite as fast as Metacritic. And we're going to continue down here through the reviews. Another 100 from Guardian. Very few fans get to play in the sandbox of their obsession like IO has here. As far as Bond video games go, nobody has done it better. So if you're looking for whether or not you should get 007 First Light, these reviews are crazy good. I will also say this. I am not sponsored by them. I have no affiliation with the game or the studio. I did not get review access. But they are doing something very cool with their pre-orders, okay? I would love it if more studios followed suit here. If you pre-order 007 First Light right now for the normal price, the $69.99, you get their Definitive Edition upgrade for free. You don't pay for it. They just give it to you. They also give you early access. I think that's a great way to treat the early adopters. You don't just get in a day early. You get the digital deluxe stuff for free. And I think that's pretty cool that they're doing that. So I get nothing as a kickback if you pre-order this game. I am simply praising something that I think is worthy of praising. Nobody does it better. That's right. Critical Hits gave it a 95, and they say 007 First Light is not just a great James Bond franchise game. It is one of the best products in the franchise's history, and one of the best games of 2026. The characters and action and stealth in just the right measure. Highly recommend. How many other Bond games are there? I can literally only name GoldenEye. How many James Bond games are there? Let's see. You've got the EA era where you have Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, 007 Racing, 007 Agent Under Fire, 007 Nightfire, 007 Everything or Nothing, GoldenEye Rogue Agent, and then From Russia with Love. So under the Activision era, there's Quantum of Solace, there's GoldenEye, which they did in 2010 on the Wii and the DS, James Bond 007 Bloodstone, and 007 Legends. So yeah, a lot. I would I haven't even heard of some of those. And that's a lot of games. That's a lot of James Bond games. And good to have this one in the franchise's history. And thank you guys for 200 likes on YouTube. Y'all are crushing it. We've only been streaming for 45 minutes, and y'all are just absolutely dominating. Indigo Geek says, with 007 First Light, IO Interactive brings James Bond back to video games with an experience that perfectly captures the fantasy of Agent 007. Its blend of cinematic storytelling, stealth, combat, and driving creates an elegant, explosive, and consistently thrilling adventure. The result is one of the strongest titles of the year, a game that modernizes the classic essence of Bond and positions itself as a serious contender for award season. So this is great to see. It really, really is. I think it's great to see a studio take a crack at something in their wheelhouse, right? We know this is in their wheelhouse with the Hitman series. This isn't something that they were like struggling to make, I don't think. But I also think it's important for people to see that like they stepped out and they said, we are going, to make it a unique experience. It's not just going to be a experience of Hitman with James Bond cars and James Bond gear. And I think that's admirable that they did that. So good for them. And if they land a bunch of, nominations, even better. Raven Young comes in with 10 months and a Prime over there on Purple. Thank you so much, Raven. And if you guys use your Primes over there, it supports me every single month. Jeux Actu, this is a French outfit. I probably didn't say that right. They say 007 First Light does something. Oh, oui. No, I'm just kidding. That does something I honestly wasn't expecting anymore. It makes James Bond feel important in video games again, not just as another decent licensed title you finish once and forget a few months later, but as a real AAA solo blockbuster that feels ambitious, polished, cinematic, and clearly built by people who genuinely understand what makes 007 special. Excuse me. I apologize. I got like a weird, there we go. Like a weird tickle. IO Interactive absolutely nails that balance between stealth, elegance, brutal action, espionage, gadgets. Where are we? What in the world? Oh, it scrolled down? That was weird. Political tension and pure spectacle without ever turning Bond into some generic action hero. He still feels like James Bond, and that's probably the game's biggest success. And yeah, it's impossible not to think about Uncharted 4 while playing. The animations, pacing, set pieces, and attention to detail constantly give the game that interactive movie feeling we barely see anymore. Well, unless you say that about all PlayStation games. Which isn't true, haters. But what really makes First Light stand out is how it mixes that cinematic approach with some lighter Hitman DNA. Missions give you freedom. You can improvise, sneak around, manipulate enemies, use gadgets creatively, or just let things spiral into chaos. IO Interactive didn't throw away what made Hitman work. They adapted it to Bond in a really smart way. What really ties everything together is this younger version of Bond himself. He's less confident, more impulsive, still figuring himself out, and that origin story angle works incredibly well. Patrick Gibson absolutely crushes it in the role and honestly feels more convincing as the next Bond than half of the names currently rumored for the movies. Sure, the AI can be inconsistent at times, and some mechanics are simplified, but the game's energy, variety, and overall sense of spectacle makes those flaws easy to overlook. I can't scroll any further down. Sorry, this last sentence you'll have to just hear and not see. After 13 years away, 007 honestly couldn't have asked for a better comeback. So, more high praise coming in from the French. El Desmarque says, or Desmarque, I'm not actually sure how to say that, but 007 First Light has everything it takes to become a brilliant franchise. Presence, gameplay, its own distinct style, and above all, a well-crafted narrative that elevates the James Bond iconography. So, another high score. If you're looking for a 007 First Light review roundup, that's what we're doing right now. We're scrolling through the Metacritic summaries, and we appreciate you guys so much being here this morning. It turned out far better than I was thinking. Yeah, the original reveal, I'm kind of with you, Paul. The original reveal, I thought, I don't know, boys. It looked very Hitman. The driving looked rough. The shooting and the fighting looked rough. And I was like, I don't know. And everybody's like, well, it could be an old build, And then they showed some more, and they showed some more. I think like the third time they had an outing of gameplay, I was like, oh, this is looking better. I was like, this is looking quite good. And so I'm very, very encouraged by what we're reading today. It seems like they didn't like trick us with some kind of like a vertical slice or some kind of like a, like footage that's been like juiced up or something like that. But why, though? It says, IO Interactive feels like they found the new home in the James Bond franchise. 007 First Light is a blast with a tense and enthralling narrative that punches away higher and harder than anyone could have expected. You have Twitch drops for First Light later. I mean, I can switch directories and you'll probably get them. I can just go to the directory, and that should turn on drops for you guys. We don't need to hang out and just chatting. I mean, we're only talking about First Light. We will be playing the game once I'm done reading through the reviews. So, but why though? Saying it hits higher above its weight, higher than anybody expected, and that is encouraging. Let's get another review total count here. Refresh. It hasn't moved, but that's okay. 47 critic reviews, 24 on PC. It's actually 51 on PS5, but for some reason it hasn't updated. And then 34 total on OpenCritic is still sitting at 34. Checkpoint Gaming gives it a 90 and says, 007 First Light understands that Bond isn't just gadgets and gunfights. There's a lot of charm and chaos and an abundance of improvisation under pressure. IO Interactive captures that brilliantly, giving us a slick espionage thriller that is just as fun to explore as it is to survive, as well as an additional tac sim mode for replayability. Excuse me. 007 First Light is up there as one of the best Bond games of all time. That's a consistent theme today, that it's like one of the best Bond games. People are like, yeah, this is the best. This is the best one that's ever been made. Hey, what's good, Scotty B? I appreciate you, Scotty. I've been seeing your comments and your praise. I appreciated your excitement over the Colin Moriarty interview, man. I appreciate that very, very much. I was watching one of their shows and I saw you in the audience. Appreciate you, man. Good morning. Are you playing on PC or PS5 Pro? I will be playing 007 First Light gameplay on the PS5 Pro, which a couple of the reviews have highlighted how good it looks on the Pro. And we got some early looks as well before the game came out, basically praising it for those enhancements on the Pro. Now, we also saw, and I can pull this up now, I tweeted about this. I kind of retweeted it and said it was encouraging to see. Let me find it here. Here we go. So this was tweeted by senior render engineer at IO Interactive. Okay, senior render engineer Alex Mueller says our PS5 Pro version of 007 First Light will feature PSSR 2.0 at launch. And John is not exaggerating here. We were extremely impressed with how quick it was to implement and how good the results look out of the box. So, I mean, I don't know if did he just accidentally dock Shinobi? We now know Shinobi's name. In any case, this guy worked on the game, and he's like, it was really, really quick to implement, and it looks good out of the box. So this is a strong endorsement for developers, and this is good for PlayStation, obviously, because of everything Mark Cerny's done with PSSR and the PS5 Pro, and it spells good things for the future with the PS6. So I got some people to thank. Thank you, Louis, Mr. Second Love, using his Prime over there on Purple and gets us to 264. And now we're at 265 because Roadkill hits 34 months. Does anybody know if it's a lock 60 or do you need VRR? I actually don't know. So we'll check it out today and we'll be able to tell, I'm assuming. We are exactly 10 members away from 275. I currently owe YouTube 4. So if you guys hit that 10 bomb off any second, I will owe a 5 bomb to YouTube. We'll continue reading through these reviews. And yeah, Mike, I appreciate you trying to tell me. I know all about the PlayStation State of Play. We'll be covering it next week. I appreciate you you letting me know, though. Creative Block says, a slow-burning and brutally elegant blend of Hitman and Batman Arkham, First Light's Arkham Hitman mashup evolves into a stylish, inventive, and mature take on James Bond and feels meaningful and earned. It's pretty much locked at 60 based on an Elisa de Beats. Let's see something. On the combat, I think Del Walker talked about this, and it was a while ago. Hang on a second. Where is Del? I follow him. The Cartel Del. Okay, so we're going to have to do a search for Cartel Del Arkham DNA Jake Baldino. Here it is. So this is a while ago. And a 10 bomb comes in from Broken Earth and secures it for Team YouTube. And I owe a 5 bomb to YouTube. Thank you so much, boys. We're trying to end today at 400, and we're already at 275. You guys are crushing it. So Jake Baldino had some preview impressions. And he talked about how the game had an Arkham-like elements to it. Right? The principal combat designer for 2 years was Adam Vincent, the combat animator designer for all of the Arkham games. So the reason that and Buckkeep, I missed your resub, Buckkeep. I'm sorry. Oh, and no, I didn't. Buckkeep gifted a sub to somebody, and so did Second Love. Boom, boom. We're at 287. Thank you for those gifted subs over there on Purple, Second Love, and Buckkeep. So Dell is highlighting the fact that, like, hey, if you're playing this game and it feels like Arkham, there's a reason for that. Okay? There's a reason for that. So, very exciting to see this. This is weeks ago, by the way. This is May 3rd. This is the beginning of May when Dell said this. I remember that he said this, and that's why I was able to find it. I just searched Google and found it. Dell's out here doing the Lord's work on Twitter. Appreciate him. Appreciate Dell. And this was really cool intel to learn. So, if you're playing this game and the combat feels like Arkham, there is a reason for that. Back to the reviews here. Gaming Bible says, 007 First Light is an exquisite taste of slick spy action and blockbuster storytelling and is fully what a Bond game should be, but rarely is. And thank you, Sci-Fi Nerd, for for using your Prime over there on Purple and getting us to 288. We might be having some uncomfortable conversations about a couple of games that get snubbed for Game of the Year this year. It's so many, T-Tube. And we've been streaming for exactly 1 hour. Thank you guys for well more than 200 likes over there on YouTube. I owe YouTube 5 members, and I'm going to do that now. And just as a reminder, we will be diving into some 007 First Light gameplay. We will be doing that today after we're done looking at these reviews. And we appreciate you guys supporting the channel so incredibly as we bounce back this week. It is greatly appreciated. I gift a member every 25, so there's the 5 that I owe. Appreciate everybody who made that possible. Good morning, Feed. I see you over there in the chat, Feed. Over there on Purple. Game Spew. 007 First Light has everything you could want from a Bond game. Fist fights, shootouts, epic set pieces, car chases, subterfuge, and more. There are some minor issues, such as the game's cover system being a little finicky at times, but on the whole, this is a must-play for Bond fans as well as those who simply enjoy a good action game. So another strong endorsement here from Game Spew. That's an interesting name, Game Spew. I mean, change the capitalization, it could be Games Pew. You know, like a church pew. In any case, IGN Brazil and IGN France are in agreement here, giving it a 9. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. The non-American IGN, there's IGN Italia. The non-American IGN outfits, IGN Benelux, they are consistently rating things higher than the American-based IGN. I don't know if IGN's even registered a review yet. IGN Spain gives it an 80. So we'll see where IGN lands on this one. That's been a consistent thing lately, that IGN Brazil, France, and Italia are consistently rating games higher than the base of operations IGN in America. I was thinking more like pew pew, like the sound effect. Oh yeah, games pew pew pew. IGN Brazil says 007 First Light has that distinct feel of a 7th generation console action game thanks to features it borrows from other games of that era and even some more recent ones to create an immersive, fun, and thrilling experience that have been somewhat missing from video games. So, IGN Brazil with high praise for the game. And thank you guys for all the likes and all the comments. This is a Game of the Year contender. The main thing standing in its way for Game of the Year right now is it doesn't have enough reviews. It's going to need to get quite a bit more. 51 and 24, so 75. Not terrible, but not a super strong start. And that's not necessarily an indictment of the game. The way they distributed the review codes was a little strange. Right? I got it going. Yeah, there's an update here. Let me make sure I have that update. We're going to make sure that I have that update. Paco with 49 months and a VIP. Thank you so much. Getting us to 289. 289. Thank you very, very much. It's a lot of months. I've got 3 notifications on my PlayStation. And let's see. It looks like 007 First Light did install an update. I don't know when. I'm going to check for an update now. It says that the version I have installed is the latest version, so we should be good to go. IGN uses those others as a cover, in my opinion. How on earth would they use those as a cover? Add my Prime, Streamer Man. Where? I don't see it. What are you talking about? It didn't show up for whatever reason. But, the way they distributed the reviews was very odd. They distributed the review codes like before the previous weekend, like the weekend that we just came out of. Okay? So, basically the review codes went out on Friday the 22nd. Now, the good news is it's not a super big thing. I don't celebrate. You think I made it up? I know, but if people say that, then they celebrate later, then it counts twice. There we go, 290. So the review totals should climb throughout this week. I don't think 007 First Light is going to struggle to get lots of reviews. I don't think it's going to. I don't think, let's say 40 or 50 more reviews come pouring in. Based off of the ones we've read today and the outfits that it's coming from, Comic Book and VGC and, IGN Brazil and France. These are outfits that tend to sort of land in the hemisphere of where everybody else lands. So, can you find the worst review when you get a chance? I already did. I already read it. It was gamer.no or gamer.no. It's weird that they think it's the best James Bond game ever made, but then they gave it a 7. This is literally the title of their review, the best James Bond game ever made. And then they gave it a 7, and it's not 3.5 stars or whatever out of 5 stars. They literally gave it a 7 out of 10. They felt that it wasn't bold enough. It was a very sort of safe and straightforward game. They felt like it maybe should have been a little bit more bold and gutsy or whatever. I don't quite understand what that means, but that is what they determined. So thank you, everybody. If you're watching on Purple or YouTube, we greatly appreciate it. So IGN France is, high praise as well. James Bond is back in his best, most polished, and most immersive form yet, and all without relying on an existing movie. Instead, rewriting his history and origins. The visual experience is mind-blowing. The game is technically top-notch, and the gameplay is so addictive that you'll go back for more without a second thought. As soon as I get off from the gym, I'm going to give it a go. I still need to finish Lego Batman 2, though. There's so many games coming out. So many games coming out. We're getting buried. We're getting buried in games. And I think it's good to see. It's very, very good to see. Good year for games. Metro Game Central says not only an extremely authentic Bond adaptation, but a masterful action adventure in its own right that manages an impressive balance of storytelling and cinematic spectacle. They gave it a 90. Now, we've read a handful of reviews that have essentially echoed this sentiment, that it's not just a great Bond game, it's a great action game. And I would say that's encouraging, right? I would say, listen, that's really, really encouraging that it doesn't just land as a good Bond game. It's a good action game. And I think that's what many people were hoping to see. That it didn't feel too much like Hitman. Many of the reviews have touched on that. It doesn't feel like, Hitman wearing a James Bond skin suit. So that's good. But also the fact that, it's just a good action game. Hey, man, are we good to buy this on PS5? I don't really recommend people buy or not, but I will say this. If you've been compelled by these reviews to pre-order, they're doing something very cool. When you pre-order 007 First Light, you get the digital deluxe upgrade for free. They don't charge you extra. $69.99, you get the whole game, but you also get the digital deluxe as if you paid the extra, and you get to play early today. Now, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not getting a kickback. This is not a sponsored segment. I've received nothing from the studio. I think they sent me some B-roll that was under NDA a couple of weeks ago, and we never got a chance to use it. So that's the only thing I've received from the company. I'm not in any connection to them whatsoever. But I do want to praise something that I think is pretty cool that they're doing. You're getting a digital deluxe upgrade simply for pre-ordering, and I think with scores this high and strong, I think you could safely do that if you were kind of on the fence about this game. So, PSX Brazil says 007 First Light is an excellent James Bond game, varied gameplay with intelligent approach options, a story worthy of the character's films, beautiful graphics, a great technical performance. The tax sim mode is a great way to increase the title's longevity. We've heard this from a couple other reviews, the tax sim mode is a way for there to be replayability. They say here, although the campaign features many slow-paced moments with secondary characters and combat animations that repeat frequently, it's an adventure that deserves to be checked out by any 007 fan or action game enthusiast in general. I pre-ordered digital. The physical you can't play until tomorrow, I heard. That's probably true. When if they have controversial review or like 2 points off, well, most giving something like IGN Spain ETC has brought up is, but this score is more in line with everyone else. Yeah, I still just, I mean, you're free to think that. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that IGN has outfits in, Brazil and France and Italy as like a cover for their other scores. Their main scores on their main page and their main Twitter account, that's what gets all of the hate and all the ridicule. They've never been able to successfully hide behind those other, outfits. The physical version needs internet to play it. Is this true? I don't know. I don't know if it does an initial check or like an initial download or something. I'm not actually sure if the physical edition requires the internet. There's a outfit called Does It Play? Have they checked this one yet? Because I know we were hearing things about this one that people were speculating that was the case. Reviews seem favorable, but Lono, can you look up bad points? I really want to understand what problems people find, if that makes sense. That makes sense. The only bad reviews we've been able to find is this one gave it a 7, and all they really fundamentally said was it's a bit too simple and straightforward. There are far too many clumsy fights, and the Hitman formula is streamlined a bit, but more than I'd like. Give me more freedom during missions and let me play with more of the tools that James Bond has at his disposal, even when the odds are against me. Now, other people have talked about how the freedom and the use of gadgets is quite good. So that we don't have agreement here on this. Like most of the ones we've read today have spoken specifically to this actually being a good part of the game. They say here it's an entertaining game, but I wish they took more chances. This feels a little too controlled and thus doesn't reach great heights. Entertaining, yes, but I'm left feeling unrealized potential. We also had some people say that the driving wasn't great, but there's not that many sequences where you're driving. So, when in the early years of IGN, I just trusted them because they were accurate. Somebody's saying you can play it offline. They said the physical version, you can only the first hour mission like a demo. Good morning, Ganks. How are you? Welcome in, everybody. If you guys are enjoying this 007 First Light review roundup, do me a favor. Hit the like button and say good morning or hello or afternoon or evening in the chat. I'd assume they'd have to constrain the Hitman formula a bit for the James Bond game. Virtually every review we've read has said it's a great blend of James Bond and Hitman elements. Like, a lot of us were worried it was just going to be a Hitman game. But you were just playing as James Bond, and that does not seem to be the case at all. Now, if somebody was wanting a lot more Hitman DNA and didn't get it, that's a very specific preference that I don't think a ton of people have that preference. Like, how many people are playing the latest James Bond game and like, well, I really hope it's basically another Hitman? I mean, wouldn't you just want another Hitman then? If that makes sense. Ryan Gasling with a £5 super chat says, congrats on 60K. Thank you. We did hit a milestone on the channel, 60K, 1,000 subscribers. The big goal that we've been working on is we would like to have 600 paying members. So if you've never done a membership before on YouTube, you can help us with that goal. Hit join. It's $5 for the entire month. You get a badge and emotes, and you get into my members-only Discord where we do a daily segment called The Green Room. You don't get to be in that if you're not a member. At this point, you would think IO would just make another Hitman. Exactly. Right. Only Hitman this has is... Oh, the only Hitman this has is the world NPC atmosphere. Yeah, that does seem to be the consensus. Press Start Australia says, 007 First Light is all things a Bond game should be. It's exciting, unpredictable, and delivers a jet-setting adventure full of the hallmark, all that hallmark intrigue. As a spy game, it's expectedly solid, but as an action game, it's somehow even better. As IO Interactive declare themselves the go-to for spy thrillers, and Patrick Gibson In a time where new blood is badly required, declares himself Bond. James Bond. Well, there you go. Press Start Australia, very impressed with the game, giving it a 90 and high praise. Yo, my man Q Patrick jumps back in for $5 and says, hey, I'm jumping back in as a member, and boom, it moves the line to 291. IGN Italia says, the James Bond saga... No, I'm kidding. The James Bond saga could hardly have ended up in better hands. IO Interactive have crafted an adventure that perfectly captures the spirit of the 007 movies with an engaging story, stunning settings, and gameplay that's polished in every detail. I mean, this thing's landing very, very strong with the reviews. The way these outfits are praising it, it'll be interesting to see how well the score can maintain the high 80s that it presently has, because it's currently sitting very, very good. And Patrick isn't just going to renew the membership, he's going to pay it forward and gift one as well. Have you seen rumblings about Naughty Dog possibly shutting down? This could be our Uncharted 5. There are no credible rumblings at all about Naughty Dog shutting down. That simply isn't true. 44 months from Q Patrick says, it's a shame Sarah Bond isn't around for this. This is true. This is true. If you're remarking about Jason Schreier's comments that were completely misrepresented and are going to be paraded around by a bunch of bad faith YouTubers and people that lie about the industry, if you're talking about that, yeah, Jason Schreier did not say that PlayStation's like unhappy with Naughty Dog. That's not what he said. He literally came out within an hour or two of that reporting and said, yeah, that's not what I meant, and that's not what I said. He was simply saying that the higher ups, like the big head honchos at PlayStation, are not thrilled that development's taking longer and being more expensive. His comments were completely misrepresented. He was not singling out Naughty Dog. He wasn't. So no, there's no threat of them being shut down, and there is no credibility at all to the claim that like Sony's not happy with Naughty Dog. Anybody reporting that is not telling the truth. They are misrepresenting what he said. If there's no retractions or updates, I would stop listening to those people. If people can't take the time to correct bad reporting with updates or retractions, unfollow them on Twitter, unsub from their YouTube channels, and stop consuming their content, because they're just going to continue to feed you falsehood. So Schreier clarified his comments within like 60 minutes of the reports going out. So we live in a time where it's not about being right or accurate. It's about being first. Nobody gives a frick if it's accurate or truthful. And I don't know. It's, yeah, it's the world we live in. It's the world we live in. And people are going to run with those videos and get ad revenue, and it's just a bunch of falsehood. So if they can't, listen, if people run with it and make it and publish it, and then they come out and do retractions or updates later, great, that's fine. If you want to be front burner coverage and you make a bit of a miscalculation, as long as you come back and correct the record, I don't care. I get it. You're trying to play the game like everybody else is playing the game. You get a hot headline and you go with it. If you don't correct that later, then you should not be trusted. That's not a trustworthy outfit or person if they don't come back and correct it. So, let's see here. IGN Italia, saga, the James Bond saga. Oh, I already read this one. Loot Level Chill gave it a 90. 007 First Light is a superb adventure game that does so much more than simply coast on the popularity of its franchise. Naughty Dog shutting down, yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's no longer about being first, it's about being provocative and divisive to get clicks. Who cares about truth anymore? Listen, people are going to learn a really, really good and valuable lesson in about 12 to 24 months. It'll all run out of gas. It will. I mean, go ahead. Make hay while the sun is shining. Get that click rate and get that money. But in about 24 months to 48 months, in about 12 to 24 months, that style, it's just going to run out of gas. You can't grow a sustained community or support base or channel with that kind of content. It runs out of steam. It's not a sustainable business model. It isn't. It isn't. Everybody burns out doing that because eventually you can't. You run out of things to yell about and hate. You run out of things to misrepresent, and your audience isn't loyal to you. They're not. They're beholden to, emotional, diatribes and manipulation. So I don't think that kind of content's long for this world. I think eventually that stuff it's going to continue to lose its potency. It's going to continue to lose its potency. Atomics says 007 First Light is one of the best games of the year. There's no doubt about it. While there are a couple of stumbles caused by bugs and the fact that there are some weaker moments in the adventure, it's impossible not to be amazed by the great work that IO Interactive has presented us with this time. While we don't know what will happen in the future, I hope the studio is already developing James Bond's next mission. I'm not really sure what the goal here is with whoever owns the property or whoever licenses it out, but this level of praise that IO is getting, I would expect them to be greenlit for another one. Yeah. You overestimate the audience of these people? I don't overestimate the audience of these people. It's gravity, my friend. It's gravity. I've watched this ecosystem and YouTube for a decade. They are not the first people to run with, well, this is what works right now. They're not the first people to do that. And they won't be the last, and they'll burn out, and they will slowly fade because it's not a sustainable business model. It's not value-laden. It's a terrible business model. It's not a value-laden business model. It's not built on trust and value and quality. It isn't. It will burn out. I've watched countless YouTubers go through this, and they're no longer here, or they're no longer doing near the viewership that they used to. Like, it just happens. So yeah, Atomics thinks the 007 First Light is one of the best games of the year. A 90 from the Independent. How 007 First Light performs is the main area of criticism I really have. As previously mentioned, on the whole, the game runs great, running at an upscaled 4K 60 in quality mode. However, there are a bit of clipping here and there, such as bigger weapons clipping through Bond's clothing. Now, come on. Come on now. There is the very occasional pop-in texture, and some textures don't render too well up close, even though they're zoomed in on and are a focus of what's in front of you in story missions, and they look very pixelated, which does break the immersion. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure textures messing up can be immersion breaking. I think that's a fair criticism. It is. But like clipping through the clothing is not something that I'm super concerned about. Yeah, when you have a game that gives you the freedom of movement that these games give you, that you're probably just going to get clipping. That's just going to happen. It would be unusual to not have that happen. I know people can get kind of stuck on that, and it's like, well, why wouldn't they fix it, or why wouldn't they patch it? And they feel like it's distracting. It doesn't really bother me that much at all. So I am not of the opinion that this is a huge deal. The fact that it runs upscaled 4K 60 in quality mode, I think I can forgive some clipping. I think I can forgive some clipping. But they listen. They didn't take off very many points. So credit where credit is due. They're basically saying this is really the only criticisms that they have, right? They're like, yeah, the game's amazing, but this is just some minor stuff. So they give it a 90. So like, if this is the worst thing they can say, we're doing pretty well. And listen, credit to this reviewer. They did not take a lot of points off. Jake Brigstock. Now that is a frickin' name. That's a dadgum name. Mr. Brigstock, I presume. That's an excellent name. They're barely taking points off, like a 90. So I actually appreciate that. You're doing great. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Munkus, for your Prime sub over there on Purple. We're sitting at 293. We're 7 away from the 300 milestone, where I will owe you guys another member. Whoever hits it gets it, whether it's Twitch or YouTube, we'll see. Area Hugones? I'm not sure what this one is on pronunciation, but we'll read it. Despite its imperfections, IO Interactive's proposal is unwavering in its ambition to create the best James Bond game in history. This new version of 007, charismatic and authentic, stands as a worthy heir to the legacy of great cinematic portrayals such as Pierce Brosnan, although his attitude is more reminiscent of Nathan Drake. It's a blend of infiltration, stealth, and action, albeit with aspects that could be improved in future installments. It makes the game a more than remarkable adaptation of Ian Fleming's work to the interactive medium. Congrats on 60th. Thank you, Muku, for resubbing over there on Purple, using your Prime sub 16 months. And we're sitting at 294. Thank you very much. Looking how it was said to make sure some does not get the higher up breathing down your neck, using the word not thrilled would be lighter in corporate speak. I mean, I don't know what you mean. They weren't. Jason Schreier was not speaking specifically to Naughty Dog. He literally clarified. He was speaking in general. Somebody asked about Naughty Dog, and he was like, well, yeah, PlayStation higher-ups are not happy about that. That games are getting more expensive, and they're taking longer to show up. That's not ideal. There's not an executive anywhere that's going to be happy about that. And Joker Quinn, not being the ruiner today, sets up an easy 5-bomb dunker to 300. We'll see who's going to steal this one. Is it going to be Twitch or YouTube? Nice setup, Joker Quinn. I'm watching both chats. You're an American who reads and speaks English well. That's good enough. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have a great reputation in the realm of reading, so I appreciate that. When Nathan Drake is in a tux, might as well call him 007. First Light is an Uncharted game in disguise. You haven't played it, so why would anybody really care what you think? Wired Rope with a 5-bomb comes in and lands the plane at 300. And I owe Twitch a member. The reviews have very, very much said that it is not just like an Uncharted game. Like, there are elements and, like, obviously inspirations or whatever, but it does not sound like an Uncharted game, like, at all. It sounds like a good action game. It sounds like a good Bond game. I have not read a single review today that has made it sound like, oh yeah, it's just Uncharted in disguise. Like, I feel like you're just saying that to get a reaction. So there, you got a reaction of us saying nobody cares what you think. And there it is, Agent of Chaos, coming from Joker Quinn, rolling us past 300. And then Drewski's going to gift one as well and roll us past 300. Thank you so much, Drewski, for adding another member to the total. I can't ever see Bond exploring ancient ruins. Yeah, I don't think he's like gallivanting across like ancient ruins or like, you know, pirate ships and like Uncharted is very much like, you know, an Indiana Jones adjacent game. And that does not sound at all like what this spy espionage action game sounds like at all. Carol Quantain, 007. First Light is a true success. They're giving it an 85. They're giving it an 85. While not without its flaws, IO Interactive titles managed to place a bold, modern, refreshing James Bond at the heart of a captivating adventure with perfectly controlled pacing. This guy says, stop being a D-bag. Did you watch the gameplay? It has Uncharted gameplay. Did you play those? Oh, you sound upset. That's unfortunate for you. Halfway between Hitman and Uncharted, it delivers an experience that lives up to the expectations one would have for a James Bond film, spectacular and stylish. So they're giving it an 85, saying that it has some flaws, but it's refreshing, and James Bond's at the heart of it. And they seem to like the pacing. This review seems to like the pacing. So that's one. We did see one of the reviews say they didn't like the pacing. This review seems to enjoy it. There were some reviews that did speak to being a little slow in the beginning. Maybe that is a cause for criticism on pacing. We'll obviously see where it lands. So, IGN Benelux says, 007 First Light is one of the best Bond games I have ever played. The game is absolutely not perfect, but the foundation is rock solid. Hopefully, IO Interactive will get to send this Bond on many more adventures. Bond literally scales buildings like Nathan Drake. Okay. Excellent point. You've convinced nobody. Tierra Gamer gives it an 85. 007 First Light successfully captures everything we enjoy about James Bond, exploring both his espionage side and his thrilling shootouts. It presents a solid approach to blending both aspects of the MI6 agent, although it falls short in areas such as combat. Even so, it marks a strong return to the iconic spy to video games and could serve as the foundation of a truly definitive experience. Multiplayer.it says, let's get the whole thing up on the screen here. 007 First Light is a perfect blend of the espionage aplomb of the Hitman series and the cinematic action of Uncharted. It pleasantly alternates between the two, catapulting the player into a myriad of situations that are always simulating and, above all, excellently written. So well crafted, they seem to have been plucked from a good 007 movie. This is the problem with your reductionism, right? So they're saying it kind of blends the Hitman series and the cinematic action of Uncharted, and you're saying it's Uncharted in disguise. And people that have actually played it are like, yeah, you can clearly see the inspiration and the cinematic action style of like an Uncharted. But they're also saying this is an amazing James Bond story. They're also saying it's very much Hitman adjacent. I don't think I've ever played an Uncharted and felt like, well, this is very Hitman adjacent. You know what I mean? Like, invoking Uncharted in reviews makes sense. Saying it's Uncharted in disguise is silly and reductionist. Don't have to play the game yet, my guy. The previews alone speak for themselves. Well, these are reviews, my guy. So, according to the people that have played it and are giving it a review score, they're not saying it's Uncharted in disguise, my guy. The new James Bond has lost none of its charm. His irresistible knowing smile, his seductive gaze, his approach that can be at times frivolous, trendy, and style icon-like, at times profound in intelligence, almost like a philosopher in the field. With him, the cast of characters lays a solid foundation of what could be another successful franchise for IO Interactive. There are some elements that are out of place, most notably the enemy AI that's just not convincing. But when Bond enters the fray and the adrenaline rush rises, 007 First Light manages to make up for it with spectacular storytelling and an irresistible pace. A fun, incisive, and very contemporary video game. To quote a maxim from Agent 007, the series, quote, has all the time in the world to become perfect. So yeah, seems to be a very consistent theme here of it's an excellent action game, it's an excellent Bond game, it's a good blend. If you guys are just tuning in, we are doing a 007 First Light review roundup. Be sure to hit the like button. We appreciate you guys being here and supporting what we do. And we're going to continue kind of looking at the reviews here. We will be diving into 007 First Light gameplay shortly. We will be doing that. Shortly. Hobby Consolas says, with the origin story, the new James has earned his number despite my affection for GoldenEye. The charms of this revamped spy are irresistible. First Light is the finest Bond experience ever seen in a video game. Polished, true to the character's essence, modernized, and incredibly fun to play. 007 is ready for duty. Let's go ahead and, he said duty. Let's go ahead and refresh here and see where the score is. Hasn't moved yet. Still just 47 and 24 total reviews. Let's check OpenCritic. OpenCritic has 34 and is now at 37. Still holding an 89. So Definitely in the Game of the Year conversation, currently going to need a lot more reviews for that to become a reality. You need a lot of reviews. The update's 25 gig. I checked it. I must have the latest version. Yeah. I must have the latest version because I checked and I have it. With the amount of games that have come out, I may have to pass on AC resyncs this year. The beauty of that situation is it'll be there for you when you're ready. And, that's the kind of game that 6 months down the road could just naturally see a price reduction because, it's been out long enough. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many games coming out. Like, holding off is completely legitimate and just waiting. Joe Video says, ultimately, 007 First Light does not transcend its status as a mainstream adaptation, yet it clearly delivers on its promise. Hang on one second. Top reply says, I don't know if it's been requested. Forgive me if it has. Any way you can enable captions. If it's difficult, don't on my account. Just have a kiddo that's hearing impaired that enjoys them. How do I do that? I would gladly do that for you. I don't know how to do that. Isn't that on by default? I thought all these platforms tried to do closed captions while we're streaming. Now, they'll do them later on YouTube, like on the VOD. I don't know if I have to go check a box or something. I would do that in a heartbeat for you. We have friends that are both hearing and vision impaired, and I would obviously do what I can. Twitch on desktop has CC. Okay, so it should work if you're watching on desktop. I don't know about the mobile though. Still no date for Control Resonant. We'll get one in the summer. It looks like the Plague Tale Resonant game, different Resonant, right? Looks like the Plague Tale game is going to be late August. That looks like that got leaked by a retailer. The title rigorously adheres to a well-paced script, dazzles us with its visuals, and entertains us with its sharp dialogue. Naturally, for a modern video game, we would have liked to see a bit more creative flair in terms of gameplay and a little more mechanical depth. One could legitimately criticize it for being overly linear, but in reality, we readily forgive its shortcomings. Above all, we remember, having had an excellent time with controller in hand, much like watching a good 007 movie. And truly, that is neither more nor less than we could have asked for. In the bottom right corner of the video player, CC can be enabled on the user side. Yeah, maybe I have them enabled, but it doesn't show on Lonos. Maybe I did something. I'm going to YouTube right now. Yeah, mine says subtitles and closed captions are unavailable on the live stream on YouTube. They're available later, like after I'm done streaming. I think it goes through and creates them. Kind of surprised that with AI, that's not like available right now on the fly. It's a little bit. That's a little unremarkable. That's not working. I don't know. If it's not working on either platform, sadly, I don't have control over that. 40 months from Sam. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thank you, Sam. Getting us to 303 on the day. On the week, I should say. We're trying to end today at 400. We're trying to double every day's quota to bounce back after a week off last week. If we hit stretch goal this week, Madam and I will be playing Destiny 1 together this Saturday. It's been a while since you guys saw me play Destiny, and we'll be jumping into the fray together. She's been playing through the beginning of the game. The Hitman game is still priced at $69.99 because the Hitman game is not out yet. You can pre-order. I'm sorry, not the Hitman game. Sorry. I'm thinking of 007 First Light. Yeah, let me just continue with what I was going to say. 007 First Light is not out yet. And I don't get a kickback from this. But if you pre-order the game, they give you the digital deluxe upgrade for free. And you can play today, which I'm going to be doing. I think it's really cool they did that. Like, as a way to motivate pre-orders, it's like, hey, we're not just going to give you early access. We're going to give you the digital deluxe upgrade for free. I think that's very cool. Let's see here. ID says, First Light introduces James Bond with a rock-solid experience. Stylish, confident, and endlessly exciting all the way through the credits. At its best, the ultimate Bond experience, complete with cool gadgets and bombastic action. At its weaker moments, it calls to mind the highly competent Bond shooters that EA delivered. IO Interactive is sitting on a gold mine that, with the right refinement, could grow into a fantastic 007 game series. I therefore hope they get the chance from the license holders. Hitman Games as a live service game where you buy Hitman, it contains multiple games. Yeah, they did some kind of an update, right? Where like you buy and you get like basically everything, right? At least they did something with that. That made me pull the trigger on the pre-order, early access, and free downloads. Yes. So now we're getting out of the 85s. We're in the 84s and the 83. Gamers RD says 007 First Light is the game we have been waiting for from the world's most famous agent. From the world's most famous agent since the infamous 007 Legends. It's a title that blends the open level design of Hitman, the frantic gameplay of Uncharted, and the world of espionage of James Bond. IOI delivers a production worthy of the character with a high level of detail and memorable nods. Although it could have been better graphically, at least it remains stable. You'll notice, again, it's got open level design of Hitman, frantic gameplay of Uncharted, and the world of espionage of James Bond. So, yeah, you can still pre-order today because the game's not out until tomorrow. II.it says 007 First Light is just like its protagonist. Charismatic, energetic, funny, charming, as well as impetus? Huh? Can you use the word like that? I don't think I ever realized. Someone who acts quickly and suddenly. Huh. But you can use it in a different way. I use it in the way of like, there is no impetus for this to happen. Having great impetus, moving with great force, violent, the impetus wins. No, impetuous. I'm misreading the word. That's not impetus, that's impetuous. Good golly, Lono. I was like, I literally couldn't see it. I just saw impetus, and I'm like, what the frick? Impetuous. I'm an idiot. Impetuous. I like that word. I don't think I've ever heard anybody use the word impetuous. That's why it tripped me up. He's impetuous, exaggerated, immature. He does what I was impetuous in my reading of impetuous. He does what he wants to do, which is to entertain in every way possible. He completes his mission with a few lapses in style and without going unnoticed. Putting himself out there like this may not be ideal for a spy, but for a video game, it's a significant asset. The light of this new and brilliant James Bond is therefore neither dim nor dazzling. It's simply bright enough to radiate optimism about 007's video game future. Impotent. Right, Melissa? At first blush, I was like, wait, impotent? Like, wait, no, impetus. No, impetus. What? That doesn't make sense either. You know what I mean? Impetuous. CG Magazine. 007 First Light does a great job of making the player feel like they are embodying James Bond. Gadgets, shootouts, stealth, and an amazing cast really make this stand in the hall of 007 greats. So we're in the 80s now. Game Reactor. 007 First Light has plenty of hits and plenty of misses. So we're getting into the more like mixed responses now. Okay. So we are not necessarily getting just nothing but high praise now. We're getting a bit more of a mix. Says 007 First Light has plenty of hits and plenty of misses. In answer to the question earlier, there's enough in this game to give you confidence in IO Interactive and its broader vision for this style of James Bond game, with plenty of ambition and quality oozing out of every crack. But there is clear room for improvement too. Areas that would take this game from being simply an enjoyable and great action-adventure project and elevating it to something truly unmissable. As it is, you'll enjoy 007 First Light, but it's no Uncharted 4 and it's no Hitman 3 either. So it sounds to me like the people that are a bit more mixed on it, this is kind of like the one that we read that's like a 7 out of 10, even though they say it's like the best James Bond game that has come out. They're also saying, you know, this is a little safe. This is a little like bland. They could have gone further. They could have gone more ambitious. So I think it's fair to review a game like that, but I'm always a little hesitant to put a ton of stock into unspoken ideals. We've talked about this before, right? So unspoken ideals. Like, it really didn't go far enough, or it really didn't innovate enough. Statements like this. And so for me, I'm like, well, that's an unspoken ideal. I need more to go on than that. Like, if you're going to take points off, or if you're not going to give it like a glowing score, it's fine. It's your personal reaction. I just prefer those ideals to be more fleshed out. Looks like a fun 25 to 35 hour fun game. It sounds like it's going to land in the more 15 to 20 hour range. But yes. So I'm not saying that they're wrong. I have just always preferred, if you're going to judge a game against ideals, or like not going far enough, or not being bold enough, or brave enough, or whatever it is that you're claiming, I would personally appreciate those ideals being more fleshed out and more spoken to, and not so generic. A lot of the times we read reviews, they're like, it just didn't go far enough, or they just weren't brave and bold enough, or innovative enough. And I'm like, okay, explain what you mean. What threshold did they not reach? Give me some specifics. So, not being critical of the reviews, that's just my personal preference. Like, if I read a review and I feel like they say the game's falling short, I would like to know, in a more particular way, how they felt the game fell short. Okay, so First Light here, still landing in an 88. We'll see OpenCritic. 37 now, 37. Critic reviews on OpenCritic, sitting in an 89. So very strong score. First Light occasionally stumbles in adjusting from Hitman to a spy, but thanks to terrific writing and sprawling level design, this is one of the most thrilling Bond adventures to date, says Region Free. Spazio, I'm not sure how to say that one. That reminds me of, we had a computer program way back in the day on our computer called Dr. Spazio, and it was one of the first like text-to-speech things that we could interact with. It was pretty cool. Like, we would make him say different things and do things like that. Closed captions. That's weird. I always had that turned on by default, Creature, on YouTube, and it's turned off. Oh, didn't we have to turn that off, Creature? I thought we had to run normal latency with no closed captions in order to get the ads to show up in chat. Because I always had closed captions turned on for live streams on YouTube. But I think, didn't we disable that? Didn't they say if you want ads to roll in the chat box, you have to run normal latency and no closed captions? Because I've always had it on, but I think we turned it off a while ago, and it's off by default now. We disabled it for something, but I don't remember why. I think it was for the ads. Look up the guide on how to get ads in the chat, and I'm fairly certain they said you have to run normal latency, which we don't like, and you have to turn closed captions off. I feel like that's why we turned it off. I'll happily turn it back on YouTube if that's not the case. Eurogamer gave it an 80. 007 First Light is less cerebral and replayable than IO's World of Assassination trilogy, but it makes up for it with excellent fistfights and oodles of charm. Okay. Guys, we're really close to 300 likes on YouTube. Do me a quick favor. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, it does help us out. Game Rant says 007 First Light is one of the more content-rich James Bond games we've ever had, and it should only get better with future updates. What's on offer at launch? It's a solid, polished James Bond adventure with a memorable story and exciting action that should please most fans of the franchise. So, we read that one earlier. That was one of the ones that we read. That's an 80. And so, overall, I think this game is in a prime position to do very well. It seems to be in a prime position to do very well on the year. We will obviously see if it manages to hold onto the current standing that it has. Again, just to reiterate, they didn't distribute review copies until Friday. So these reviews are, I wouldn't say rushed, but people probably felt like, oh shoot, we better get on this. And they have been, probably playing the game all weekend to make sure that they've been able to get these reviews for you guys. So, be sure to thank any of the people that put out especially they put out a video review. That's a lot more challenging than written reviews. So be sure to thank those YouTubers out there that put the work in over the weekend to get that ready for you, and their editors as well, because that's a very short window. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like it's a super long game, and we are going to be playing it shortly here. We're going to be playing it shortly. I do have it installed. We are using the pre-order early access to play it. Cal Kestis will appear in more Star Wars stories after the sequel to Jedi Survivor, confirms a Disney rep. Never say never. We got his lightsaber in the park. We've got more Cal stories coming. That's not surprising, honestly. He's a good character, and he's an excellent character. So I kind of expected him to show up in more stuff. YouTube says they won't interfere. Not sure I believe them. Only one way to find out. Okay. Well, I will try to remember to turn on closed captions for future talk shows on YouTube. I will try to remember. It's like down and out of the frame whenever I set up a stream. So it's not front and center whenever I schedule. And it looks like it's off by default. So again, that is not something that I necessarily did. I think we did it because we were encouraged to, but now they're saying it won't interfere with that. Because ads are super disruptive, and we've done everything we can to minimize their presence on both platforms. No worries, I'm on. Twitch can switch over. If I don't catch the lives, usually watch the VODs. Okay, yeah. But if I can get it to work on YouTube for you, you can just watch there. I don't seem to have the ability to do that on Purple. Not really sure if that's a browser thing, or I don't know. Just pulled it up on browser, and I have closed captions disabled, not available for this content. I don't know. Is that something that I do? I don't know. I don't know if that's a setting that I can turn on or enable. If that's a setting I can turn on and enable on Purple on Twitch, somebody let me know. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, do that. We've been doing a 007 First Light review roundup, and it's landing very strong. Another strong game for 2026. The year just won't quit. Games keep coming out, and they keep scoring well. Jedi 3 should be Cal's last story. It hurt the plot when things get milked too much. I just think he's too good of an actor for them to just sit and do nothing with him. So, yeah. I think he's too good of an actor. Cameron Monaghan is very, very, very good. He's done a lot of good work. I mean, even before he was Cal Kestis. So, I would imagine they're going to want to get more mileage out of him. So, let me set up redirect, and I don't know if we'll deal. If you guys go to watch the gameplay later, I don't know if it'll be muted or not, because of copyrighted music that is likely in the game. We don't really have control over that, unfortunately. Don't really have control over that. Doesn't seem like there's a streamer mode. Somebody here says, I promise I'm not going to spoil stuff, so don't unfollow me, but this game has one of the best handlings of a training mission that I've ever seen. The way the whole sequence uses montage is amazing. So they're talking about James Bond. They're talking about 007 First Light. It seems people are already enjoying even the most basic things, which we will see today when we play through it. And I don't go back and finish games on stream. That's just not something that we necessarily have place for here. But I have finished a lot of games. There's another game that comes out today, and it's in early access, which is interesting because it's been in early access on Steam for a while. And I don't know, I think Zubair may have scooped this one up because I know he's a big Hades fan. If you're fans of Hades, there's a game called Realm of Ink that drops today. It is excellent. It has like a 93 or something on Steam, and it lands on all the consoles, current and previous gen Xbox, current and previous gen PlayStation, as well as the Switch. And excellent game. Very, very good. I wish it had co-op. Madam and I really enjoyed Sworn co-op. That was really, really enjoyable. And right now we're playing Batman's co-op, even though we're not thrilled with the performance. We're hoping they do an update to fix it. Jess Corden says, absolutely loved 007 First Light. Went in with zero expectations. Huge amount of gameplay variety, great story and character delivery. Really satisfying combat. So he reviewed it over there on on Windows Central. So very, very strong score for 007 First Light already. Close to 90. Close to 90 with an 88. Brap is on Twitter, says, what happened to exclusives didn't matter, or the industry was moving away from exclusivity, or AAA games are too expensive. These were talking points for years. What's changed? Well, yeah. 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 We knew those were not viable predictions about the market. We all knew. I think even the people making those predictions about the market knew they weren't viable predictions. So, too many games to play. Hand-to-hand combat looks clean. It does. It does indeed. Okay. All right, yeah, we should be able to turn back closed captions on there when we're on YouTube. Okay. Paul says, shout out to a local family friend. Oh, lead sound designer? You know the guy that did the lead sound design? Well, you earned a drop. So we do have drops enabled. Let me update that. Let's do this. And we'll put drops in the title. There we go. Okay. Hitman action game. I'm all in. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today and watching. We're continuing to stream. We're not going anywhere. And people are saying it's the best Bond game since GoldenEye. So hit the like button. Try to get us to 300 likes. We are going to be diving into 007 First Light gameplay momentarily. Folks that were hoping for a GTA 6 trailer 3 today, Rockstar once again. This is the original, well, one of the original. No, yeah, it was the only announced date outside of like fall. So this was an announced date window for GTA 6. And they have tweeted about Red Dead Online. So no trailer today, it seems. We had folks claiming there would be one today. And there isn't. So Remedy's new CEO says that Alan Wake and Control should have sold more, and a movie TV deal will help us to do that. Really? I mean, I am fully behind both of those franchises getting some TV treatment. I think that sounds awesome. Trailer will be June 6th at 6. Why? That's a terrible time. I mean, they like to drop their stuff at like 9 or 10 in the morning Eastern. Why would they drop it at 6 in the evening? I don't know about that. Who claimed that? Well, the guy that claimed a GTA 6 trailer 3 was coming today, he was the one that debunked the Best Buy thing. So he seemed to know his stuff. He seemed to know his stuff. Unfortunately, he seems to have had bad intel. And I mean, there was somebody that came out and said, listen, if you leak the release date of the trailer, Rockstar's petty. They'll move it. Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, including the Final Ship expansion, will be available for Extra and Premium Deluxe members from June 9th. Alan Wake has always been a mix of Twin Peaks with the Twilight Zone. This is true. Let's play Guess the Date. I would just put Rockstar in a stranglehold and just for the next how many days before November 15th? Every day say the trailer's tomorrow. Yeah, I heard the trailer's tomorrow. Just do it. and then you just delete all your previous predictions, and when it drops, you're like, told y'all. You know, be like, listen, Rockstar's petty. I can out petty your petty. You're like, I heard Rockstar's dropping GTA 6 trailer 3 tomorrow, so be on the lookout, boys. And then when it doesn't happen, just delete that prediction and then make another one. You know, like, y'all want to be petty and keep moving the trailer because it got leaked when it was going to happen or whatever. Okay, well, we'll out petty your petty. It's not a mystery. They said summer. Yeah, it's going to be later. And, you know, we were talking about this before I went on my trip. And I said that I could see them playing nice with their partners. Like PlayStation especially was probably like, listen, you can't walk all over us late May. You're going to kill us. You got to hold off. Let us do our state of play. Let us have our moment. Let's get our stuff out there. Let us get some Wolverine gameplay out there in the ether. And then you guys, you know, because Rockstar doesn't want to, like, you know, be too brazen. They need to sell well on PlayStation. It's the biggest platform that they're going to be selling their game on. So, you know, and Xbox as well. Xbox is doing a showcase, and Xbox is doing a Gears of War E-Day Direct. So Microsoft's probably saying something similar, like, hey, can you guys just hold off? Just hold off until later in the summer. Let us kind of get our summer marketing spun up and doing its job and securing pre-orders, intrigue, wish lists, whatever. And then drop that dadgum trailer. These are their partners. You're selling your game on the Xbox platform and on the PlayStation platform. And, you know, you're going to need those things, those platforms to be doing well. So I would fully expect that to be potentially in the conversation. Potentially. So we will see. I mean, the summer's about to heat up. The summer's about to heat up, man. We got a state of play next week, and then we're into Summer Game Fest. And the PlayStation, the Xbox Showcase, the Gears of War Direct. There is a lot. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot coming. So apparently Fable's on track to release this year. The devs keep posting about it recently. I'm very, very intrigued by what ends up happening with that game. The Dev Direct did not give me confidence that it was even close to being ready. You know, and it didn't give me that it was closer. Okay, cool. It didn't give me the impression it was even close to being ready. And if it lands this year, I think I'd be curious what shape it's in and if they're going to try to push this thing out before October, because I don't think anybody wants to land in October. October is going to be a full steam ahead runway for GTA 6 marketing. Screenshots, clips, gameplay, And we did cover this yesterday, and I said I was kind of curious where Marathon would land this week. Did they do maintenance or something? Yeah, they must have. Yeah, they did maintenance. It dipped pretty low last night before maintenance, though. It dipped to its lowest that it's ever been. 2,000 players on Steam. And that was my concern, was that the game kind of had finally hit a floor of the player base on Steam. It seemed like it was hitting like a reasonable stride. And last night, 4 hours before maintenance even started, it dipped to 2,000 players. That's the lowest the game has ever been on Steam, apart from maintenance. And currently it's at 2,000 players. Usually this time of the day, 1,500 UTC, it's anywhere from 5 to 6,000 players. And again, that's bouncing back from maintenance. All Bungie games were offline yesterday, apparently. Huh? That's not what I'm seeing. People were playing. I don't know. Just seeing that Shift Up is going to do the publishing for Stellar Blade 2. Yeah, they said that in an interview a while ago, and then the story got circulated pretty heavily about a week or two ago. I'm not surprised. It did well, sold well, and now they want to do publishing on their own because PlayStation would have wanted another exclusivity, and they're probably saying, yeah, no, we don't want to do that because it didn't outsell PlayStation on PC, but it sold faster on PC, so they're probably wanting to be able to capture that momentum. They want to capture that momentum. So a game like that, they likely want to have it hitting on both platforms at the exact same time because it did well. It did well on PC. So yeah, if we could get like 5 more likes on this stream, we are going to be shifting gears here. Bungie's saying there are issues signing in to Destiny 2 and Marathon. But that was at 5 in the morning. Have they not updated? They're getting DOSed? Jiminy Christmas. Yeah, I was going to say, that's the lowest Marathon's been, but that was in the middle of the night. Maybe that's when it started. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay. Let's do this. We are going to switch gears here. It's a little early in the day for gameplay, so if you guys want to keep the members rolling and the support rolling, be sure to do that. Usually when we switch gears, it slows down quite a bit. But that's okay. We want to make sure and showcase gameplay on the channel. We want to make sure and cover games as they come out. And this was definitely one that I was looking forward to. And this was definitely one that over time, in my opinion, started to look better and better. Okay. All right, there we go. But before we switch gears, I'm going to take the quickest of breaks so that we don't have to take a break once we're into the game. So make sure you guys have gone through your rituals of hitting like, saying good morning, chatting, spamming emotes, gifting or renewing members. That is a huge, huge help to what I do. And a little bit of a shorter podcast today, only 2 hours doing the roundup. And now we're going to be jumping in to 007 First Light, looking to be one of the Game of the Year contenders this year. So let me also do this. Congratulations, YouTube 53 and Twitch 24. Yeah, good contest between. We were trying, and we still have time, and you guys can obviously go crazy, during gameplay. We were trying to double Everyday's quota this week, given that we were gone for a week. Let's do this. And then we will do something that I haven't done in a long time. I will be playing Destiny this Saturday with my wife, if you guys manage to hit the stretch goal. So pretty excited to potentially have that happen. This person is in First Light. Yeah, we generally don't need you to promote other content creators. That's pretty much a known faux pas to be like, hey, somebody else is playing right now. Great. I don't know why you're advertising that. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, Chrono. Thank you for the raid, guys. Chrono gave us a raid. Be sure to support Chrono over there. Chrono 32123. And just give me a brief second here. I'll take a break and we're going to dive into the game. Okay. Is this Magic Sword? No, I don't use their music anymore because it gets claimed on YouTube. All right. This is just a bunch of AI synthwave. so that it can't be claimed. I got so tired of those shenanigans. Marathon has an update. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're in, boys. We are in. Bummer. I bought a bunch of their merch too. I was gonna kind of like partner with them as like the official music of the stream, but they whitelisted all their music on Twitch, but they didn't on YouTube. Genuinely surprised you still have it installed. Still have what installed? What music? Magic Sword. Okay. Subtitles are on. Invert camera Y. Adaptive triggers. I hate. Okay. Here's save us legalese. We now own all your children. Great. Now we own all your property. Okay. Day 1 patch enables the PSSR power, apparently. Okay. Graphics. Motion blur, no. We'll leave everything else on, I guess. Audio. Okay. I don't like a lot of screen shake. Okay. Yeah, no performance options. I think it just, I'm on the Pro. I think it just is going to default. What's my battery? Okay. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat for you guys on YouTube. Please come over to the new stream and hit like and do all the things. That really supports me. Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be me diving in brand new to 007 First Light gameplay on the PS5 Pro. I have the day 1 patch. Apparently this game looks very, very good on the PS5 Pro. Now, if sections of this broadcast get muted, there is no streamer mode for this game, and it's gonna use copyrighted music. All right, that's just kind of the nature of it. I don't have any control over that. So my apologies to anybody if you're watching this later. If sections get muted, unfortunately, I have no control over that. That is just the nature of the streaming world that we live in. I'm going to end the previous stream where we looked at the reviews, and I'm going to bring people over with Redirect, and we're going to be diving in brand new to 007 First Light gameplay. Earn the number, start the story. We're going to play it as intended, not on Novice or Purist.